Welcome to the Escape Your Limits podcast special, where I'm joined by Emma Barry at the Boutique Fitness Solutions Summit for the second part in a series of short interviews with the founders and CEOs who share their personal insights and views about the future of the sector. This week, we sit down with the Director of Marketing for FitCo, Brawn, the CEO and founder of Harlem Cycle, Tammeca Rochester, the CEO of DRIPBaR, Ben Crosbie, and the CEO and co-founder of Bespoke Studios, Mark Partin. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Escape Your Limits podcast, and if you do, please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment to help us get this information out to more people. Thank you very much for listening.
Well, one of our amazing contributors this morning, Kay from Mexico City.
Mexico!
Tell us about your concept. Like, who are you? How do you fit into the industry? And what are you doing here in New York?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Right now, I run the marketing for this company. It's called FitCo. That it's a software. It's a startup that offers a software for the fitness industry. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, I created this method. I had a dance studio before, and now I have this method where I offer the people a class where it combines functional bar and Pilates. So it's amazing for me to be here because I am learning a lot, like as a coach, as a business owner, but also as like hearing all the problems of all the owners. Like it's amazing to be here like as a product or as a service for the industry because I'm hearing all the problems, you know, like they need to fix, that they need to attend. And it's amazing for me. It's a lot of information. Like it's super cool.
Yeah, so you're getting a lot of different inputs, which is really helping you think in a lot of different ways across the software, but then also as a club owner as well, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
How has the pandemic been? How's the business coming back in Mexico now?
Well, a lot of studios went through a very difficult season. You know, like I think half of them closed in the pandemic. Right. No, and also they were like these studios gave the employee to the coaches. So we have now like a lot of coaches becoming entrepreneurs.
Right.
You know, like they had a job in these studios, they don't, and now they are like launching their own platforms, their own systems, their own methods. So it's like a lot of offer now. Mm-hmm. Like you have like everything, you know, and it's amazing because in Mexico we have different kind of studios, like for everyone. Like if you have a lot of money and you want to be like in the studios like New York, you know, like because for us New York is like the example that we want to be like in New York, like the studios of New York, like eventually. So we have a lot of offer, and now the industry is like giving steps with more confidence that the people now want to be out, they want to return to the studios, but also they learn to be flexible, you know, they want to be in the studios again, but they learn that they can work out at their homes too. So I think also businesses they are becoming like hybrids, no?
Yes, definitely. Now, you spoke very passionately this morning, which I loved. We talked about perhaps the New York studios where people at the Lululemoning, and you crack a very funny joke. You said, some people, they kind of go and do bar in the Lululemon and they don't do anything for the rest of the day, right? So you mentioned in your brand you were much more open. So tell us some of the things that, you know, that you've done to be more welcoming to perhaps people who aren't just perhaps all about the image.
Yeah, I think fitness sells. This concept that you will be like very fit, no? And most of the people go to the gyms or to the studios like to get to lose fat and to be more comfortable with their bodies. But also exercise, I think, with all this wellness wave that is growing up like lately, it's teaching us that it's not just because of losing fat, no. So there is a lot of people also with the pandemic that started exercising at their homes and they didn't before. Mm-hmm. So they don't have the body or they don't have the clothes, but they like it, no? And they are new customers for us. Mm-hmm. So I think the studios and the marketers, no, we always choose like the pictures where the people is looking like amazing, and we forget that sometimes it's kind of intimidating for the people to go and enter to a studio, no, or to a dance class, or to. It's intimidating because you don't know how to do it and you feel like you are not so fit. So I think we need to try to to be more soft, no? And also communicate that in our social media. Like if you want to get all these people and if you want to talk to them, you need to talk to them in your social media too, no? No, just like think in the concept. I think it's like a 360 thing. Like
so wear the T-shirt, have different body types.
Tell your coaches, no, like don't like for example, like it's okay if you wear the big T-shirt or whatever. Like tell the people like, hey, amazing T-shirt, no, I love it, and not just like the Lululemon outfit, no, like it's I think it's super important to make your customers feel like super comfortable there. Like even if they are wearing the Lululemon set or the Walmart T-shirt, whatever, it's like about the experience and how you perform like in the class, no, like not like how you look.
Yeah.
So I think it's a thing about the place, but also on the marketing strategy to talk to them also.
Great. No, I think that's great. And then you're a long way from home. How did you hear about the summit, and why have you come, and why do you think it would be? Who might want to come, I guess, in the future? What are you getting from it so far?
Well, we heard about the summit because the founders of FitCo, Andrea and Alex, came like 2 years ago, and they found it like very interesting. And now it's super. They are super proud now that they could bring their team. You know, like they came by just the owners, and now they saw that it was like information like we need to have a team. So now we are here. Lali, the sales manager, me, the marketing manager, the founder. So we are all a team here, and it's like amazing. I think they heard because of they are all the time like talking to investors, you know, and I think it's an event that it's getting like positioned well, like in the industry, and people need to be here. Like if you work in the fitness industry, you need to be here.
So we're on day one. We've got the big summit tomorrow, and we've been in the masterclass, and people are sort of in breakout rooms, a little bit more intimate. So far, what's been the big outtake for you? Why might people come to this in the future?
You know what? When you attend to these kind of conferences, you always feel like you are there with a lot of people, and it's like, no, the speaker is there, and you're learning a lot, but you feel kind of a distance. And now I feel like in a classroom, you know, like I feel close to you, learning from you, like one step away, and I think I can talk to you and to the other people, and I think it's so values that you can talk to the other people, you know, like this I forgot the word, like when you this relationship with the people. So I think so far it's super cool to be here with like all the industry, like the owners of the other studios, no, like to be close from the speaker, and also I am very excited like of the one-on-one sessions. You know, like you can ask everything. You know, like you can how can you like achieve that if you're not here?
Yes, exactly. And that's one of the power of the event. It's very focused on the boutique fitness studios. It's obviously got software and suppliers as well. But there's been a lot of effort put in by the team around having more intimate environments. So we're in an intimate environment today. The one-on-ones, there's also a CEO summit going on at the same time. So there's lots of tiered learning. So people are hearing and learning from the peers that do exactly what they do. And like you mentioned, everyone's just open kimono. They're all just sharing all the information
I love it.
to try and get better. And it's really
it doesn't feel like competitors, you know, it feels like we're all together helping us.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the summit. Thank you.
Harlem Cycle. I'm really impressed that you're still here, actually, because we were talking yesterday about just the people in the room are pretty special because you've been through a brutal time in New York. How did you get through?
Oh my gosh, it was a tough time. I feel like during these past 2 years, I've created like 4 different businesses. We did a lot of pivoting during the time. We rented out our bikes to our clients and shipped it to their houses. We did live stream classes from the studio. We did outdoor classes in the park.
And not just outdoor. How long did you do outdoor for?
Oh, we did it for about 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
Because, you know, New York, the weather cuts you off. Right, the weather cuts you off in itself. So we did outdoor classes. And then we created an on-demand platform. So that's really, you know, the best part of what came out of all of this is, so now we have a whole nother leg of the business, which is an on-demand platform where we have like 300 different workouts already taped, filmed, includes stretches, includes nutrition, includes recipe demos. And so that was a really great part that came out of all of it. But creating a new business every couple of weeks, it felt like it.
How did you know what to do, or did you not? Did you just sort of think, because I guess you started with a cycle studio.
Right.
That was your. Well, you're actually a mechanical engineer, weren't you?
Yes.
Of course, that's a natural career progression.
Natural progression. Yes, exactly what my parents love to say. I sent her to school to be an engineer, and she teaches some classes. Yes. But
So you love your parents.
I know. But I didn't know what to do. I just kind of, when we went into lockdown, it was, okay, well, what things do I feel our community needs? What do we do to stay connected back to them? So we started doing these little Instagram 15-minute movement sessions every day at lunchtime. Let's all just get on Instagram Live. Let's just move together, because my goal was to just keep us healthy, because I wanted to be back. And I was like, the only way we can be back is if we have clients that can come back because they're healthy and we're all going to come back. So we started doing these movement sessions, and then I reached out to a couple of friends that own some restaurants in Harlem, and was like, hey, all of my clients are home. They don't know how to cook. We're New Yorkers. We take out, we order in, but now we're stuck at home. We don't know how to cook. Can we do a couple of little recipes? And I want only immune boosting recipes. I don't want fried nothing. I want things that will make us healthy during this time. And so we recorded those. I, went to their restaurants and recorded it. And then people were reaching out, and DM was like, how can I purchase? And I was like, purchase? We were giving it away for free. This was stuff we were just sending out to clients in our email.
But okay.
But then I was like, we do need some money right now. We are closed. There might be something here. And so then I went back and did it again, but this time, really a little bit more professional and with a little bit more time and effort behind it. And then we created the on-demand platform. And then I started seeing a little bit of traction. Clients were signing up, and they were like, I like it. The thing that made it very difficult for us was because we are a cycling studio, our clients don't own bikes at home. Right. And they come to us because they don't own bikes at home. But now here we are, we're like, okay, well, we can only do mat-based classes and just try to introduce them to something else, even though they obviously have chosen that their favorite workout is cycling. But what I saw, it wasn't that your favorite workout is cycling. It's you wanted to connect back with this trainer, you wanted to connect back with the studio, you wanted to feel like you were still, we were still together. And so we pivoted and created these different workouts featuring the same trainers and our same team. And we made it as relatable as possible, right? So you have me and my son, who's only 10, doing it, and we were like, okay, it's a family workout. We're going to do it together. I don't correct my son when he's in the back laying down, or he's totally I don't want to do it anymore. That's fine, because that's what your child would do at home. Yeah. And so when we started creating these videos, people were like, it's exactly what my child is doing.
It's so real.
It's so real. They were like, it's not overly edited. We're not wearing 10,000 things of makeup. It's the people you normally see, how we normally look, and what's really happening in your life right now. And I think it made it so relatable for our clients that we kept seeing the sign-ups. So I didn't really know this would take off. It was just something I wanted to see. It was something that I felt the community needed, and then it just kind of naturally progressed. Now, we started with the outdoor classes because it was all right, guys, we've been on this digital world for just too long. I need to see people. I need out of my apartment. I need something, but we need to be safe. And so the first thing we did was we did an outdoor bike ride where we kind of connected back with the city. They gave us a grant where we could participate with. They gave us free bikes. So we just rode around the city on bikes, and I was like, I've missed you guys so much. Yeah. And talk with the clients. They're like, well, can we just do this every now and then? And I was like, well, the city only will cover one outdoor bike ride, but let's think of other ways we can get together again. And so it was like, okay, well, the parks are free. Let's do some stuff in the park. So then we kind of created the outdoor mat-based classes that way. So it was really trial and error.
What kind of mat-based class? What were you doing?
So we did a sculpt class, and then we did a circuit class. Because our thing too is, we chose indoor cycling as our go-to workout because it's low impact. And we were, our clientele is from a vast background. So from the most elite athlete to someone who's just getting off of the couch for the first time. And we wanted to make sure everyone still had an option for their workout. So we needed low impact workouts that were still challenging, but still kept you moving and still could serve the whole clientele. So we went with the sculpt class, and we did a circuit class.
Incredible. So as the pandemic progressed, and here we are now, wherever this is, and we've been listening here to some of the trends, and some of the trends are we don't actually know when recovery is going to come. We might go back to 2019 numbers, but a whole lot of things have shifted. You're now omni-channel, you're now delivering things. I have to say, it sounds like you're queen of partnerships in the sense that you brought in the food community, and it must have hurt to say no fried nothing. I mean, because that's pretty good, and we're feeling like comfort, right?
Right, I was there because we were all eating it, right? That's the comfort food you need during during times like this.
Yeah, but you keep that up for 2 years and things aren't going to be pretty, and you're probably not going to come back to the studio. That's a whole other thing. So another one of the great trends was getting outdoors, and we were going digital. So now, we're just like our kids, and we're spending, what's the average hours that people spend on social media or screens now?
It's got to be at least 5 or 6 hours
It's more, I think. It's 8 or 11 or whatever, but through COVID, ridiculous. And you're in New York where the weather's, you're dealing with the weather. There's days that you just don't go out. You're not cycling in the park or whatever every day. So in terms of outdoors, what did you see there? And when we go back to whatever the new normal is, do you see that you'll retain that going forward? So you've got digital now, you've probably got some education platforms now, you've got the food group in there, and we know that being really well, like food, is at least half the conversation.
It's half the bottle, yes.
and then you've got what we provide on the other, and then you've got community, which makes it all relevant. So do you think that's something that you'll hold on to going forward, like the outdoor piece, given it was such an awakening that we need to connect back with nature?
Well, so we're a couple of ways we're still holding on to it, but still, again, pivoting, because that's what we just do all the time now. So we still are doing our outdoor bike rides. We're going to do 2 every summer. So that's a way of getting, and these are free to the community. So it's not just if you're a Harlem Cycle member, but if you just want to be in a group of people and want to ride, if you're new to the city and this is a great way to meet people, then you join our outdoor bike rides. We still do 1 hike in the city, so we do an outdoor hike.
Great.
And we're still doing our retreat, which is on Governor's Island, which is all these are outdoors. We probably won't come back to outdoor in the park classes because I'm trying to get you back in studio now.
Right.
So I need you back in the studio taking classes. But we still will have those community events because it's more about kind of getting the community moving again and getting them feeling comfortable. Because again, it's been 2 years and people haven't moved in 2 years. And if you haven't moved in 2 years, you're not running into a studio because, one, you're a little bit self-conscious about what your fitness level is right now. Yeah. But the baby steps are just joining these outdoor fun events to just get yourself started, get that self-esteem back up, and then just get that movement going.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about that, like people are rearranging their calendar, where they're also getting used to perhaps a different frequency, where maybe I'm coming 1 or 2 times to your studio perhaps in the future, and then maybe I'm doing 1 or 2 things at home, and then maybe I come to a community event, I'm wearing your shirt, I'm drinking your shake. There's all of those things. So we talk about a lot of different touch points now, and also being cognizant that people are broadening into a healthier lifestyle. Like I don't just do cycle now. I probably do a bit of boot camp, a bit of mindfulness, and then I try to take the family out on a Sunday as a regular thing, something like that. So what are your plans moving forward, given that we continue to be in uncertainty? And it must feel quite powerful for you to know, you know what, bring it on, because whatever happens, I got to pivot.
Exactly. So our plan is to be at all those touch points you just mentioned, is to really have a leg in all of those touch points. One, we'll have the studio spaces for you to come in and take classes. We'll always have outdoor events for you to bring the whole family to. So if that Sunday family event could be one of our rides, or it could be one of our outdoor hikes. Like there is a touch point for that as well. And then we have the digital platform. So, maybe today's your strength training day. What's great, you can still work out with the people you know and love, doing an exercise that you need to do. So if strength is not your thing and you've been going to a cycling class, well, we got 15-minute strength classes with your favorite trainer. We can all do that together. And that's in the digital platform for those days that you are working from home or you're working in the office and you just can't make it to the studio.
Is that body weight stuff that you do?
Yeah, we do mostly body weight stuff. But we also have where you have weights. And if we tell you, pick up the laundry basket, pick up the laundry detergent, if you don't have it at home, because there's no need for you to go out and buy this fancy equipment and anything, because we all have it in our house. Like we have something heavy in our house that we can use. Yeah. And so we always encourage you to do those things. So our goal is to be at every touch point across your life and how your life has pivoted, that we're there as well.
Thank you for supporting the Escape Your Limits podcast. If you're thinking about creating a unique and engaging fitness space to take your fitness to the next level, then we have you covered. Escape Fitness design and manufacture some of the most innovative, attractive, and durable functional training and free weight equipment used by many of the best trainers and fitness brands across the globe. As a valued listener, we are offering you a 10% discount off many of the products on our website. You can check out the full range by going to escapefitness.com and use the code DUMBBELL. That's escapefitness.com using the code DUMBBELL. That's it from me. Please enjoy the rest of this interview.
Do you know what I love about your touch points is some of them are softer. So say your community ride, what a great opportunity. They talked a bit about in the brand session earlier, fantastic session on being pre-fit. So this whole thing, I've put on some COVID kilos, or maybe I'm not really a gym person, you're all kind of freaks, but I might go on a community ride where I'm also taking my son and my thing, come along and meet some of the people and see how you feel. That might be enough to gain the confidence to then go, why don't you come and try a studio? We have an intro class, I'll be there, we can sit next to each other, you've already met your instructor. So, and they've talked a lot about multiple income streams, like needing those, but also touching people in different ways. And also we have a broader church. People, as we reach now out of the 20% who like to exercise and quite like getting up at whatever time in the morning, we're now reaching to those that are unmotivated and it's not natural for them, it's not comfortable, and what do I do, what do I wear, who's going to be there, who's going to look after me? It's just this, and we're in an anxious age where the world's on fire, whichever way we go. So I love what you're saying, and then I think you're the entrepreneur that's just going to, wherever the people are, whatever they need, we're going to be there. Provide it.
No, I mean, for me, it's more about meeting the need first.
Yes.
Throughout whole COVID and everything that was happening, it was meeting the need of the community and just knowing that in the end it would pay off.
Yes.
So we even paid, we did a lot of our programs just for free, just to know that in the end, when we can finally get back in studio, I've now helped you get over whatever fears there were so that you would want to come back into my studio.
And I have to say, just looking at the room here in New York, the 70% that remain, so there was 10% of new businesses that actually opened during this time, but we lost 30% of our industry, closed their doors permanently. But what we're finding now is that the people who have come back are stepping into this in a new way, and they're really creating the revenue streams. They're back to business basics. A lot of people enjoyed the boom, where it was a little bit easy. They talk about just, hey, I put the sandwich board out, people just kind of filed in, and you're in New York City, there's 300 million people on the street. We were out walking Times Square last night. It's not busy,
it's not as busy
work's
as you
not
thought
come
it was.
back.
It was 2 o'clock in the morning.
It was 2 o'clock in the morning. But
Times Square is normally busy at that time.
Busy.
It normally is.
And the Apple Store was still open. Very impressive. Very impressive. But no, it's just the winners that are here, and probably my final point on that is those that were there for their community are still here, because when they've gone back, no one showed up like the fitness industry. A lot of people pivoted within 3 days. They had something online. They were ringing their clients. They were like, this is happening. We don't know. Let's go through it together. Renting bikes out, going outdoors if they had to, setting groups, educating online, like those people who did all those things. And we lost some really good people as well. Sometimes the rents were just too much. But generally, if you had a community, you've now built that, they want to come back in slightly different terms, but they definitely want to come back. So all the great work, you talk about all the free stuff that you've had to do and, giving and solving problems, it is coming back, and it will continue to come back. And we're better at serving now, right?
Right, we are. I mean, the good thing about it is it got us a little bit more in touch with the needs of our clients. Yes. So before the pandemic, we were offering just cycling classes, and it was like, because cycling is amazing. But now it's like, now I know a little bit more about your day-to-day life and what those needs really are. Like, I know that you're working these hours. I know that because you've been working from home, there is no fine line in where the day ends. So I know that you need that moment to yourself, and I know what we know that you don't want to come into a space where you feel like you're working again. I know that when you walk in, you want me to somehow cut off your cell phone for you so that you're not getting that email message in the middle of your class. Like, we know those needs now, and we address them in class. Like, we talk through what are the words that you're saying to yourself right now? Are you thinking about emails during this 45 minutes? Like, let it go. And so it gave us kind of a little bit more of the behind the curtain of our clients' lives, which was great to be really that connected to them.
That's great. And you push on a point, which is variety, and that's something that, our friends at McKinsey, Deloitte, they're pointing to the fact that people now know that they need a range of things. You can't and shouldn't be doing cycling every day.
Not
you need a bit of mobility.
I mean, I would love you too, but you shouldn't.
But let's get real. We do too much of anything. And, we do too much yoga. We're not strong enough, in certain ways. We do too much cardio. We don't have strength in our structure. And if we don't do any mobility, then, as we get older, the body just kind of seizes up and we hold injuries for longer. So people are beginning to do that more. So
how do you, with your events, how does that play? Is that just group cycling, or do you incorporate some of those other things now, or will you when you start doing those again? Because that looks like a pretty interesting concept.
Our wellness retreat?
Yeah.
Oh, so there we actually don't do any cycling.
Oh, really?
Yes, we do mostly mat-based. We got some cardio strength. We got sculpt, we do yoga, meditation, so focusing back on that mindfulness. We do a cardio dance, which no one comes to us for dance classes, but now they will. So, the great thing is I have such a remarkable team who are trained across all these modalities, and they teach at different studios, but now it's, being able to kind of take all of their talent and share it with the rest of our clientele. So when we do our outdoor stuff, none of it is actually cycling.
Right. Fantastic. Well, look, thank you so much.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Where can people find about you and what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, we're on at Harlem Cycle. Our website, is harlem-cycle.com, and everything you need is there. All of our events, everything's always online for us. And so just, check out our website, follow us on social media, drop in our DMs, because we answer all DMs. I personally answer most of them. So that's the best way to find us is online.
Fantastic.
Great. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Ben, how's it been going?
It's been going good. Thank you for having me.
How's DRIPBaR?
DRIPBaR is going good. DRIPBaR is very good.
Right. How long you had that business?
So I franchised it in September of 2019.
Right.
We launched, grew it, and currently we have 21 locations open, and we're opening 1 to 2 a week for the foreseeable future.
Right. So what is it that tell us a bit about what DRIPBaR does, who's the target audience?
Sure. So I like to explain it as it's a simple and a sophisticated business. It's built upon 5 pillars of revenue, and I like to call them pillars because they're not only revenue streams on a P&L, but they're also marketing avatars that we go after when the locations are open. The first is lifestyle drips. They're for people that are healthy. We have 17 of them. They're for clients that are 30 plus, male, female, average household income of around $75,000. We have like jet setters for those who travel a lot, pre and post-op for people dealing with surgery. To date, our number one drip has been the Power Pack for energy, mental clarity, and focus. But since COVID, the number one has been the Shield to boost one's immune system.
Right.
We also do health support drips, which have real research and evidence behind them. We do high-dose vitamin C to help clients with cancer because it's shown to kill cancer cells. It helps with people that are in remission and going through chemotherapy. So that is a whole other demographic that we go after.
So
male, female, 45 plus. Absolutely. Absolutely. But then with pillar 3, we do our additional services like Botox, hydrofacial, red light therapy, infrared sauna. We have a robust mobile component as well to be able to deliver these to people at their house, office, or into a hotel. We do shots, and pillar 5 is oral supplements. So we have a whole retail line of oral supplements, both private label and through full scripts, that is pretty robust, and we're able to coach and help people achieve what we call cellular health. And I think that that's the future of tracking. Fitness, there's a lot of tracking opportunities through wearables. But once you start tracking your cellular health and how your body is changing and improving, it helps boost longevity from what we've seen.
Right. So I've done it before. I did it when I had COVID a few years ago. I had someone suggested I got a vitamin C and a mixture of a few other things, and it did actually, like within a couple of days, I don't know whether it was just that or a
or
coincidence.
Placebo. You're right.
But things seem to kind of accelerate in terms of getting better. It was called there was a name of it now.
Probably the Myers cocktail.
Myers cocktail. Yeah.
It's interesting because the Myers cocktail, a lot of people don't know about it. Well, people know about it, and it's marketed as the Myers cocktail. But if you look at the definition, it's just vitamins in a bag.
Right.
So there is no real set ingredients that goes into it. It's just vitamins in a bag. Doctor throws anything in there, calls it a Myers cocktail, and boom, you have it.
Right.
And that's the beauty of what we've done as a franchise. We've standardized everything to really be able to scale and safely grow and help clients.
So what's the research into this? Because you read different things, and it's difficult to know kind of who to follow. And they say, if you take vitamins, they don't always get absorbed. If you do them intravenously, they're going to be absorbed a lot. But I noticed a lot come out as well when you do that. So is there some really good research into say that this is really beneficial, as opposed to kind of, a lot of the supplement industry that's a little bit, can be quite gimmicky.
Yep. Yeah, there's a good amount of research out there, and you're going to have your 50-50 people out there, your naysayers. But the facts are, when you do anything IV, it absorbs at a greater rate than when taken orally, because it doesn't have to go through the stomach and the liver and then metabolize and then be absorbed into the body. So with IVs, there's the ability to create more of a therapeutic effect by doing IVs. As far as health support, there have been quite a few studies on chelation as the TAC1, TAC2 trials. Chelation is a process of removing heavy metals from the body. And by doing so, it's shown to help with heart disease, dementia, early onset, diabetes, and such. So there's a lot of research studies and evidence. There have been government-backed, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies that showed evidence that people that did chelation had a reduced events of cardiac events post-doing chelation. There's also a good amount of research out there for high-dose vitamin C. A lot of the metabolic information comes from Canada. So up in Canada, they're doing a lot of this, and they've been ahead of the game, more so than here. We actually have franchisees that are coming down from Canada that are going to be on our research and development team to further develop the cancer protocols. Another nice way to support, we actually have a franchisee, husband and wife. They're both oncologists that have read the research, see the data, and now they're becoming part of DRIPBaR because they see it as a very useful parallel treatment of care.
Right. And what are some of the other things then that people are using outside of like the regular vitamin? Are there? You talked about some of the longevity. I think you used that. So what are people putting in their arm in that instance? Is it are there sort of like these new formulations that are kind of quite effective that have not been around before? Yeah.
So there's chelation is very good. Removing heavy metals, toxic heavy metals from the body is important. It's like a cellular health cleanse also. Right. Most recently, NAD has been the most interesting one out there. There's not a lot of research and evidence on it. I've done it. It's amazing.
Yeah, everyone. I was speaking to someone on Friday who was telling me that he did. It's quite expensive, isn't it? And you've got to have it done, and a bit painful. Is that right?
Yeah, it depends upon where you go in the protocols. There are some outlandish protocols out there right now. And, you notice it. So there are people that have those stories. You don't feel well, you feel nauseous, makes you feel sick, but it makes you feel awesome when it's done. But we err on the side of judgment on good medical ethics. We don't go to those high levels that some of our competitors do. We want to really be grounded in medical efficacy, in safety for our clients. Our clients are looking for it. NAD has also just modified from a 503 to a 503A, from B to A.
What does that mean?
So meaning it can no longer just be bought from a pharmacy and then held on the shelf. It needs to be prescription specific. So if I want to do NAD, I need to go do an initial evaluation with our medical directors, and then they prescribe NAD. So the bottle comes, obviously, with my name on it, and that would be the only way to be able to use NAD at this point.
Is that both the oral and the intra?
Nope. It's just the IV.
Okay.
Just the IV. Same thing with NAD orally. It still has to go through the body. It doesn't all absorb at the end of the day. Once it hits your cellular level, whatever you took in, maybe 5, 10, 15% is actually being absorbed in the body.
Right. And with that then, because I was interested in trying it, because my friend did it, and he said and I think he uses it quite regularly. I don't know whether it's monthly or something, and then he has oral with it, but he just said it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So what does it do to you, and why do you feel like really good?
So not being a doctor,
you don't know.
I want to stay far away from that because there's not a lot of research on NAD. It's specific IV in our competitors. But it helps improve mitochondrial function. It makes the mitochondria move, I guess, quicker, gives it more energy. What happened to me when I just had a little bit mixed with another drip at the time, it made everything brighter. I could see better. We have franchisees that said that they did it and they forgot their reading glasses, or they forgot their glasses and they could see better. So it helps that. They've had more energy, more focus. So I think it's a very interesting biohack opportunity. But truly, at the DRIPBaR, we're able to create more data and research, and then that's what we're pushing out to our clients, because we want the best effects and the best outcomes for clients, but we are unwilling to go aggressively into that, just to be part of the cool group that the other competitors are doing. The other competitors are not at the level that we are at with pharmacy. With the way that we run and operate the business, we've just held ourselves to another standard that the industry hasn't accepted at this point. But it's going very well for our clients and our franchisees.
So do you have these attached to any other fitness areas? Like, do you kind of partner up with some of the people like that are here today,
Sure.
studios, gyms, or within those, or are they generally all standalone?
So currently we have 21 locations. They're all standalone. We are going into health clubs now. Actually, we're taking over quite a few, not taking over, replacing childcare in quite a few locations. So it's the DRIPBaR at. So we're co-branding locations. We go in, we retrofit either 400 to 1,000 square feet. We have all the branding, marketing, advertising. It's a really good opportunity for not only the health club owner, but for DRIPBaR. It's a very strong captured audience of health-focused people. And I think creating cellular health and leveraging the DRIPBaR is going to complement the fitness industry quite well.
Is there specialist type of people that you have to, I guess you are, do you have to have like doctors or nurses or something to deliver that?
At a site level, it's only an RN. Some states it could be less than an RN, like a paramedic, for instance. But that's on a state-by-state basis. As far as the medical oversight, we've created a national medical director group. So it's led by one doctor who's registered in all 50 states. But then he has the redundancy of a doctor in every state or multiple doctors in every state. So our medical director and medical leadership team has over 50 doctors associated with it. And that covers us to do DRIPBaR wherever, not only at a location, but when we're doing mobile.
Right. And financially then, for people who want to get in a franchise, like, is it, what can you share about how much of a interesting financial opportunity it is?
Yeah, so because we're a franchise, we have to stay specific in the realm of the franchise documents. The cost to open is anywhere from $130 to $330, typically. The biggest reason for that range is the cost of construction. Right. We don't know what it costs we don't know what space a franchisee is going to decide to take. So that might cost a little more, might cost a little less. We also don't know how much money the landlord's going to provide. Everything else we have very fixed and focused. Our FF&E is $42,000, so that's easily replicable in scaling. We don't have any problems with any of our supply chain to open. As far as performance, last year at our affiliate store, which is a corporate store, so it's not a franchise, doesn't pay a royalty, but just drips, like I said, pillar 1 and 2, health support, lifestyle drips. They did $804 gross revenue at a 58% profit margin. So they made $465,000 last year.
On one location.
Profit on one location in Warwick, Rhode Island, of all places.
I don't know that, but
yeah. So Warwick, Rhode Island, within a 5-mile radius, there's less than 100,000 people, and the average household income is right around $75,000. So It's not an affluent area. It's not a dense area, but it's a good area. And it's created a really nice proof of concept that we've been able to leverage into an entire franchise opportunity. So we're excited. 21 now. By this time next year, we'll have 100 locations open.
And are you seeing similar performance from some of your others?
Yeah, they're all on a very comparable hockey stick ramp up. We as a franchise company are continually supporting the franchisees. We're adding new marketing and advertising. We're adding more mobile components. Our app that's going to be launched at the end of May will also give them the brand extension to be like the Uber Eats of IVs. So we see a really exciting trend and a growth opportunity for all of our sites.
My guess is the marketing, getting people in the door is the biggest challenge. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I come from the health club industry. I've brought on quite a few people from the health club industry that understand sales. So we launch these businesses the same way as any of the exponential brands and Orange Theory. We do 2 months of pre-sale. We then hold locations in 60 to 90 days of like a refinement soft opening period, and then we open. You know, we are a membership-based opportunity.
Right.
And
so how does that work then? What's a standard membership look like?
Sure. So we have 3 different tiers of membership, depending upon what level. NAD obviously being the highest membership. And it's just paying on a recurring basis, a single drip per month, and then discounts off everything else that goes on inside the DRIPBaR.
And typically, what would someone pay them per month for like a standard drip?
So as a membership, it ranges anywhere from $140 to $300 per month. The average cost of a drip back in 2021, just as far as people coming in off the street, was $176.18 to be, general. So, yeah, people are willing to pay. They're recognizing the value. I think a core competency of our marketing and advertising is that we focus on education. The more we educate through our marketing, the more people join. Right. The IV industry originally that started 20 years ago, the education on it being the hangover cure was what stuck. Everybody knows IVs as the hangover cure. But again, that goes into the marketing and the education through the marketing. Now that we're coming out and we're educating, get a power pack for energy. You're worried about cancer, high dose of vitamin C is an option for you to consider. Heart disease, chelation, those various things. The more we market and advertise and grow, then you get the sticky, because I had so many conversations last night about the hangover cure, right? Like, when I'm hungover, I will pay anything. Well, then put yourself in the same mindset when you're tired and you need energy. Maybe you'll pay anything. If you're worried about cancer, you'll probably pay anything. It's not really marketing. It's not anything. It's educating the general public as to the research that's out there, showing them the opportunity that there are other options. And we're not replacing, traditional medicine. We're a parallel treatment of care.
Do you think that it's likely to be popular in certain areas first? Like obviously on the East Coast, there's even, if you look at this event here with all the boutique studios, it tends to kind of start here, and then on the West Coast, LA, are you seeing that it will start to get accepted in some of those areas before some of the others, or are you seeing a general awareness across the country?
Yeah, so when I launched the franchise system, I figured it was going to be on the coasts. That's definitely happened, but we're filling in a lot quicker than I would have ever expected. We're opening in Michigan. We're in Kansas City. We're going throughout the Midwest, Minnesota, Indiana. We're in Colorado, Las Vegas, and Utah. So, very completely different opportunities. I think our competition that focuses on the hangover hotspots are going to be stuck in those markets. But with us opening up the opportunity, opening up the market share, there are people everywhere that want to live long, healthy lives. There are also people there that have cancer, heart disease, dementia. They want to do as much as they can to be healthy, to stave off, those things showing up. Maybe you have family history. So there's a lot of opportunities for the DRIPBaR because we've taken such a more medical professional approach and really focused on the pharmacy side of things.
Yeah. And what about international? Are you planning to do anything overseas at any point, or is there certain restrictions because of the materials or the chemicals?
Yeah, there aren't any restrictions that I've seen at this time. We have had I'd say a few conversations internationally. A lot of people have reached out about Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the whole GCC area. I've talked to India. We're talking to Canada. So there's a lot of opportunities. In my previous business, we did 11 international deals. That was in the fitness industry, so I have quite a bit of experience. One interesting thing that's happening in the franchise industry right now is there's a lot of E2 visas coming into the U.S.
I've got one.
Yeah. So we have E2s. Hotspots are Canada and Argentina.
Right.
They just keep showing up. Everyone wants to move to Miami.
Yeah, I'm tempted now. I'm thinking about that. It sounds an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. But
even if it's just to get cheap NAD.
Absolutely. You now know a guy, right?
Well, very good. Well, look, thanks very much. We'll put all your details for anyone who's listening that might be interested. It sounds like a great compliment for training studios to be able to have this as a sort of a complementary revenue stream, particularly for people who are probably looking for other options. I know Julian was talking about that yesterday, having alternative revenue streams as well as your membership. So it sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Look forward to the future.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Good luck with everything.
Sir.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, Mark, welcome all the way from Boston on a train, which is going to be the new meeting room we've talked about. From Bespoke, tell us about what are you doing here at Boutique Fitness Summit here, and what do you do? What are you learning?
Yeah, absolutely. So very excited to be back here at BFS. I came to my first one was like 2018 in Washington D.C. And honestly, I think fitness has this tendency, especially as an owner, to just really get lost in the trees. And I think, there's so much time spent in the trenches. So my first time I came was really inspirational because it just forced me to kind of zoom out a little bit and just start, looking at the business in a different way. So I was super excited to kind of come here today.
Oh, that's great. So tell us about why you're here. What is your business?
Yes.
And perhaps a little bit about, it's been a tough 2 years. What shifted in that time, I guess?
Absolutely. So I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bespoke. We are a studio based in Boston. We have 4 locations, and we specialize in group fitness classes, primarily indoor cycling, strength training, and now yoga as well. Without a doubt, we're here to kind of just refine, I think, a lot of our processes, a lot of our systems. I think Julian kind of hit the nail on the head saying that, the golden era of boutique fitness is probably over. And so, now it's going back to, I think, real business methods and people having to actually create plans around lead generations and sales funnels and things like that. So not just being focused solely on the product of your fitness. So it's great to come here and get inspiration, talk with people and see different strategies that are being implemented by some of the bigger players. Yesterday there was a great conversation from the CMO of Rumble, which was super fascinating. So I think owners are going to have to really, analyze all parts of their business, and there's just not much room for error, just with tighter margins. So there's a lot of opportunity ahead, but I think it's going to require a lot of focus. So
yeah, that's great. You mentioned, so you've diversified. You have a range of different exercise genre, I guess. Was that something you did during the pandemic, or was it in place?
That's a great question. So that's always been the original plan. Our name is Bespoke. We wanted to kind of have this tailored experience for our clients. So everybody's different, bodies are different, they respond differently to different types of methodology. So we wanted people, just dependent on what their wellness and fitness goals are, to have options to kind of be able to tailor this kind of regimen for what they're looking to accomplish. So we started with spin, and then 2 years later we launched like strength training, so we could have that combination of cardio and strength building. And then the yoga was like the next evolution, something that's a little bit more of a chill pace, a little bit kind of dabbling into recovery, a little bit of mobility. And I think the next kind of evolution for us will probably just be like dedicated recovery around like mindfulness, also nutritional counseling. So we want to be like a one-stop shop for like wellness in general. We kind of tout ourselves as like a lifestyle brand, like rooted in fitness. So not just a gym, but like much more than fitness.
Yeah, that's great. And you pull into that in the perfect time, right? Like everyone's now acknowledged you can't just do one thing. So I think, you know, the timing is great. You've obviously got great business acumen because you wouldn't be at more than one side if you hadn't, you know, and I'm sure that you've tightened things. What else has shifted for you in that time? There's been a lot of talk today, and we've been watching a lot of development in the software space as well, and also integrations, and how do we make it easier so that we can do our jobs front of house better? What's shifted for you in that space?
Yeah, so I think that's a great point to bring up. Like analyzing, taking a look at like your tech stack, figuring out like, you know, now you have to deliver so much more, but you have to be very conscious of like, you know, your overhead and your payroll. So you need to really like, you know, lean into technology and figure out how to make it work for you. So you mentioned like integrations, and that's definitely a huge focus for us, because as you start to kind of like layer in these like additional services, like we launched an on-demand platform, it's a different system. You know, now you want to like, you know, really raise brand awareness through like retail, it's a different system. So, you know, being on Mariana Tech and a system that's really open towards like integrations, I think that's the future. Because like people, I think they want everything kind of like filtered for them, and they don't want to have like 4 different apps like on their phone. So being able to kind of like maybe consolidate that and have like, you know, that user experience be a little bit tighter, that's I think the future for fitness.
Right, so with Mariana, you're also integrated with BrandBot, right?
Yes.
So that's solving another problem, right? So one thing's talking to another. Oh, that's great.
Exactly, and that's what you kind of like need, because like, you know, you run into a lot of problems, like you have these great ideas, but then being able to execute them
can be
is a
hard.
tough part.
Yeah.
Like if you had a team dedicated to kind of like automated email marketing, sure. But you know, if you're a smaller boutique gym and you know you have someone that's like doing it but wearing another hat, you need systems to kind of talk to each other. Otherwise, like, you know, being able to facilitate these ideas, I mean, you spend so much time just trying to create them and analyze them. So having BrandBot integrated with Mariana Tech has been a huge win.
And probably just on the human resource side, just a quick show of hands yesterday showed that most people had to cut quite considerable staff during these times. So like you say, there is no team.
Yeah.
It's like there's the bare basics. They're beginning to build back as the market recovers, but certainly lost a whole layer of support here.
Yeah, I think, you know, everyone's had to be super kind of like, you know, cognizant of like, you know, the impact that each member of the team has. And that rebuilding phase, though, has, I think, been kind of like liberating in a way, because, you know, it's forced you to really, really think a lot about defined job roles and kind of like what is the impact this person's like bringing, and not just kind of having like people that are like, you know, jack of all trades, their hands are in marketing, their hands are in like this, but you don't really like know like what they're driving. And I think like as owners and operators, you really need to be conscious of that. So it has been liberating.
With the different products that you offer and relating to the software, we just had a conversation earlier. How are you able to personalize those different products? Like, are you seeing the same guy or girl going from yoga to cardio to strength, or are you bringing in different people? And do you have the ability to see who's doing what and how you can kind of cross-sell them to get involved in all different areas?
Yeah, I think that's like the next focus for us from like a marketing perspective, for sure. Like without a doubt, I think people still view us as like a spin studio that also like does this. But my goal is for, you know, each program to kind of stand alone. People come in just looking for yoga, and they're like, oh, you also like, you know, do like spin. Right now it is a little bit like one-sided, but that definitely puts like, you know, the responsibility on us to kind of like do a lot of that cross-marketing. So I think it starts with education. So one thing we also do is I like to like train instructors in one discipline and another, because then there's this natural synergy, and they're like, hey, I love your spin class, maybe I'm going to try your strength class. And it's just kind of like a natural like layup. But also I think education for someone that's like, hey, we noticed that you're taking 8 spin classes a week, you know, have you considered a yoga program to help complement that? Or what are your fitness goals? So reaching out, having a little bit more one-on-one interaction about their goals, and maybe they realize that like, hey, 8 spin classes might not be the most optimal like workout plan, and maybe it's 3 complemented by some stretch, complemented by some yoga, and then some strength training, depending on if they actually want to build, muscle.
Is that something that has to be done manually, or can you, like Josh I know it's a different product, but he had quite a clever idea where everyone, he got people with different personalities and they want to be communicated with a different way, and people train in a different way, and he was talking about how to sort of automate a lot of that. But I suppose in your case, have you got to have a person that can actually sort of manually do some of those things, or do?
It is a bit manual right now, but there are some kind of like almost like hacks of maybe utilizing like brand bots. So for instance, if you kind of start to look at like the client journey, and you're saying like, hey, like the 10th class, they come in, anybody who has taken 10 classes at Bespoke and they've all been like spin, now we need to like hit them with like, a message that talks about the benefits of like incorporating yoga. And then maybe here's a call to action button to like a free class. So there's a little bit of that. You could automate that, and then different points of the client journey, trying to pinpoint, okay, who are we going after here to like target for educating about strength, educating about like yoga. So that's how we're approaching it. I think the manual process for us already at 4 studios, it wouldn't be scalable. So we need to figure out like, how to automate it. And I think it's really kind of trying to figure out those pinpoints and milestones in the client journey.
And with where you're at, obviously being through the pandemic, trying to bring people back in, what would you say are some of the big challenges you've got now as a business owner to be successful and to continue to grow then? What are the sort of kind of key things that you've got to really figure out?
Yeah, I mean, good question too. I think honestly, coming straight out, it's funny, like, we went so deep on the pandemic, like redefining what our KPIs were, what success like, meant. And, especially in light, I think of like, Black Lives Matters movement, we started a DEI committee, and we started reprioritizing like other metrics besides just like business metrics. And it's funny, during the pandemic, anybody that was talking about revenue, I mean, we didn't mention it because it was just depressing. Like, if you had an all hands like deck meeting about like, like how much sales are down like year over year, I mean, people would be Googling bridges like pretty soon. So I think coming out of the pandemic now, we want to like reorient back to kind of like prioritizing like business objectives and finding out ways to align like all the investments we made in culture with the business. But the problem is that we actually have onboarded a lot of employees during the pandemic. So, they've never really been a part of like those meetings talking about business objectives and like growth. So we actually have a lot of staff members that I think sometimes like, forget that, hey, this is just a place to kind of like, create like some amazing culture and like community. It is also a business that has like scalable like goals and ambitions. So I think we're almost finding ourselves like having to like re-educate a lot of our newer staff members that this is a business, and yes, we do kind of create and inspire happiness and health, but you do kind of need some things to line up to grow the way we want to.
We were talking about it yesterday, like how a lot of, Julian was saying how a lot of operators are just totally beaten down, and then to go back to things that you probably had to do in the beginning, it's like, I don't even want to go there, and yet, having to go back and do the basics can be quite mentally tough, I guess, in any business, isn't it?
Yeah, and yet we come back with an invigorization, like there's been a lot of locking of arms. Like people are saying, I'm no longer competing with you across the street or whatever it is. And the point was made in one of the keynotes this morning, we're competing against COVID together to actually be a much more essential item of humanity, really, which I think is sort of one of the things as well. But as we shift forward, what do you see for your brand? Are you going to expand more? Will you diversify more? Or will you just wait and see what your customers want?
Definitely planning to expand more. Right. I think we are
out of Boston. Are you just in Boston?
We're just in Massachusetts, so we have 2 studios in Boston, and we have one in Wellesley, which is kind of like a suburb 30 minutes outside. Right. A lot of colleges there, and then we also have a location on Cape Cod, about an hour and 20 in Mashpee. So it's kind of a great like synergistic model. Expansion outside of Massachusetts is probably going to start happening next year. We're looking at Texas markets. I'm actually from Fort Worth originally. So Texas is super prime. And I think what we identify for expansion are kind of like cities or areas where we can establish like a 3-4 studio model that kind of creates this like local synergy. I think that's one of our advantages over some of like the bigger brands like SoulCycle and like Barry's. Like, how do you compete with them? It's really kind of like hard to compete with them unless you do have that like local community vibe. People are able to go to 1-2 studios. You have events outside of the studios, and we're really good about like I think creating that local community vibe Whereas like a lot of the bigger brands, like, they don't have the options to do that. So if you want to be a part of that brand, you have to be inside their studio.
Got it.
And I think their culture kind of like comes down from corporate.
Right.
So our goal for expansion is to kind of like identify those hubs where we can create that local community and try to like, really empower the local studios to kind of like still maintain that small community vibe.
So I guess in terms of the community and culture, so you talked a lot about culture, how do we create that? And you've also had a whole lot of new people come on, I guess, during pandemic, and we've also had this huge need to retrain because there's new stuff now. We've got new policies, we've forgotten, it's been 2 years, whatever. So, and Boston and Dallas, quite different markets culturally, like just a different vibe, So how do you see that transforming? Like how will you, and you're now stepping away from, it's not an hour and a half drive, it's actually a flight and, it's a real thing. And often when we move away from founding site, the culture can be diluted, I guess. So how do you plan to
great
take
question.
that in?
So I think, going back to technology. So we use like January and February, which we knew were just going to be like horrible months to just really start looking at like systems, how we recruit. So, creating like an applicant tracking system, formalizing that. Now we're like, working in a learning management system.
Wonderful.
And, I was on a panel and somebody was there. It was a bunch of CMOs and I was just kind of like joining in. They're like, what is the best like low cost like marketing dollars that you should spend? And they're like, it is an LMS tool, like training your current staff members. And we really want to like actually invest it in new employee onboarding. So I think like investing the time into that and trying to create some consistency like across like, hubs and centers so they really understand the brand and not just leaving it up to chance, but being like completely intentional and systematic with like that type of training, it's paramount. So
that makes my heart sing because we're in the search business as well. So good soul hunting. So we're executive search and quite often we will find the people, amazing people, put them into a business and often the ball is dropped in onboarding, especially during these times where you've lost your middle management or you've lost your executive in some cases because you need the doers. And so that just makes my heart sing. And that's about the third time I've heard learning management system come up within this conference. So I'm so happy it's a thing. And we're on the edge of education revolution where we are so much closer to the real brains and the educators, the David Attenboroughs and the professors and Scott Galloway and, whoever it is, you can jump in and learn from these people because of the digital environment now. So this just makes, I'm just so happy to hear this.
No, and they go hand in hand. Like we talk a lot about like brand truths. It's like part of our culture. And like one of them is always like be learning, always like be interested in like, improving yourself. And it's like our product on the client side, but it's also like our employees and our team. And I think like the LMS is going to be, critical for that. And so it would be scary, like thinking about contemplating, expansion where it does require a flight without these tools in place. But I think there will be like an introductory team that's like launching there, finding people that are like, value adds and kind of like in line with our culture, training them. But we definitely want to have like, 2 independent local teams eventually, and then utilize like technology to kind of connect them.
Wow.
Fantastic. Well, look, thanks, Mark. Appreciate
incredible
your
insights.
It was great talking with you.
And all the best with expansion. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Cheers.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, then please go over to iTunes and subscribe to the Escape Your Limits podcast. Leave a review, leave a comment. It really would help us a lot to continue to keep these going.